The Arsenal captain and his vice have gone ahead and issued a City warning, or a Man City warning, ahead of the game they're going to play on Wednesday that is going to happen at the Emirates. Welcome to Rokani Media Football. Smash the like button, comment and share. We are going to talk a little bit of the referee who was supposed to be in charge of the VAR of Arsenal versus Man City, who has been suspended by the FA that he shouldn't go ahead to be into the VAR room because he did nasty stuff when Brighton was playing Crystal Palace after ruling out one of the goals of the players of Brighton that would have really been a winner into that game. Then Howard Webb has summoned officials to Stockley Park for emergency submit on Tuesday. That's it, because it really looked worse over the weekend, to an extent that even United would have seen itself score a third goal through Weghorst, and it was ruled out. Odegaard Xhaka again has gone ahead to react onto the draw against the team known as a draw against a team known as Brentford that happened over the weekend at Emirates. Rokani David is my name. Let's set the ball rolling because I've come in late. I'm sorry, but trust me, you're going to get very much more today, because after this video, I'm going to bring you the predicted starting 11 of Arsenal, the predicted starting 11 of Man City. Then I'll bring in the match preview after showing you the two teams and how I believe the two teams are really going to go out and stand. Not so. I think that will be making more sense than me doing them combined, then doing the match preview. So from today onwards, every time you're going to see a game being played of Arsenal, I'll be bringing you the predicted lineup separately, then I'll be bringing you the preview separately. I think you would love that. Some people really tell me that, Rokani, sometimes when you add the preview and the preview and the predicted starting lineup, we miss out onto those. So can you please separate them? And I've really come out to answer your request positively, and finally we are here. Now, Martin Odegaard is the captain of Arsenal, who was really so much pivotal into that goal that Arsenal scored against Brentford. You saw that pass he really gave Bukayo Saka, and Bukayo Saka went in for a curling effort with his weak right foot at the back post to find Trossard, and Trossard, who was described by his manager as a player who has the smell of the ball, tapped it into the back of the net to make it 1-0 for Arsenal. But later, VAR did trouble to Arsenal. Now, Martin Odegaard has gone ahead to say the following, and this message has been really taken out to City. He was on the Football Tribunal and he said the following, that we are in the title race now. He confirmed it, but there is a long way to go. And trust me, no one is thinking about May yet. It's a glitch, but we are taking it game by game, training session by training session, one piece at a time. Now, this statement comes out at a very perfect time when the title race decider is just 2 days away. Not even 1 day, because today is Monday. After today, Tuesday, then Wednesday's the game. Now, the captain, Martin Odegaard, has confirmed that Arsenal are in the title race. That's it. He came out and really issued this when he was at the Players' Tribunal, and obviously we've gone ahead to cultivate it. Now, talking about the title race, Arsenal being the title race by the captain Martin Odegaard, it is really something that is really going to go on and really thrive into how they are going to go all out and really act. And he continued and said, I will say this though, if there is anyone left who still doesn't believe in this team, take it from me, there are no limits on what we can achieve. No one can tell me otherwise. This is what Martin Odegaard said. And he was like literally sending the message to Man City that you might think that this team has limits, but this team has no limits. Amidst us losing to you at your stadium 1-0 in the FA Cup, losing to Everton, and drawing with Brentford, this team has no limits on what they can achieve, meaning that they can achieve everything. And that really shows you how confident the captain is. When you hear the captain come out after that loss, after those 2 losses and 1 draw, you literally understand that they are onto this game. The big bounce back should be on the game of Man City. The captain Odegaard is really hesitant to see to it that they don't lose even a point against City, and that is going to be very important for them with the season, because if Arsenal wins, they're going to be 6 points ahead of City with a game in hand. If they win their game in hand, they stretch their lead to 9 points. I believe Arsenal getting back to 9 points lead, and then Jesus returns, that officially confirms Arsenal sealing the title. Arsenal right now are suffering because they're lacking Jesus. In the game against Everton, you have Jesus. Arsenal wins that game. Why? He creates something from nothing. Secondly, he acts well in tight spaces. You get those minutes that Trossard comes in on to play. If he's having Gabriel Jesus, it's a different kind of football altogether. So I believe that Odegaard is right, that Arsenal has no limits on what they can achieve, and tells us that no one can tell him otherwise, meaning that the spirit in the dressing room of Arsenal is really positive, and they feel like this is the only chance they've got to win a Premier League trophy after 2 decades. You see, God has given Arsenal everything they want. The game is going to be played on Wednesday. As you're going to see in the match preview, I'm going to come out and really tackle on lots of bits. But all that is running in my mind is simple. Arsenal are really trying to fight their way out. Now, after Odegaard, he's the main captain. Then the vice captain of Arsenal, that is Xhaka, has said the following ahead of the Arsenal and Man City game. He said, if we are honest, we are not speaking about them. We are looking at ourselves game by game. We didn't win on Saturday. We took a point, and Wednesday is big for them, for us. So let's see. You know, it's very hard for a player to come out and say that we are talking about a certain team, but this is written all over the wall. It's evident that everyone is really looking towards this game. City is, and Arsenal is. It's the talk about town. If it's the talk about town amongst the fans and amongst the managers, how come players are not really talking about? I think he just tried to pull out a juggler to see to it that he doesn't portray out that in their dressing room they are even thinking about this. But trust me, they are talking about this. They are doing pre-match training. They are doing all the tactics required. They are trying to see to it that they really get out the best controlling system that can really see City falling on the sword of Arsenal. Can Arsenal raise? But the most important bit that he talks about is that, and Wednesday is big for Man City, for Arsenal, so let's see. So, I believe Xhaka was just beating about the bush, but he knows the fact that Arsenal fans right now are living, breathing, sleeping, dreaming their game against City. It's the title decider for me. If Arsenal draws, they would have kept City in the vicinity of getting back or putting them on pressure for the trophy. The worst result Arsenal should get is a loss, because that will be worse. City would have closed on them and they will be topping Arsenal on the league. If Arsenal draws, the point gap will set the same 3 points. If they win their game in hand, 6 above Man City. But with Zinchenko, Jesus, former Man City players at Arsenal in their dressing room, there is no way Xhaka is telling me that they're not talking about it. They're talking about it, and Jesus is really telling them how they can combat the attacks of Man City and obviously hit them and really get a result out of that. So that is the vice captain talking about the game of City, that they are not talking about it, but I know you guys are really going to come in the comment section and tell me your reactions onto that. Then after that, he had to say a little bit about the game of Brentford. He said the equalizer, we are disappointed because what we hear is that the blocker was offside, where we have got our player. I don't know why they change the rules weekend by weekend, but it's the referee's decision not to give the offside. So they are disappointed because it was a hardly fought effort for Arsenal. Reason being, Arsenal would have been 2 or 3 goals down if at all Brentford had capitalized and concentrated to really score the chances they created. Ivan Toney in the first half found his effort that he directed into the top corner rattled off the frame of the goal. Then the goal that I believe would have stood of Ivan Toney, I think it was from Bueno. Ivan Toney goes ahead to really overpower Saliba, and he really brushes that ball. Mbeumo scores, and the referee blows the whistle that there was a foul on Saliba. Obviously, I don't believe there was a foul on Saliba. So, Arsenal were disappointed because they knew they had survived, and the chance was showing that when they concentrate and score that goal, they are going to go into the lead. And obviously, when Trossard comes in through, he scored that goal for Arsenal. But later, they concede, and VAR has really gone ahead to confirm that that goal was offside. So, disappointment continued from the match and then after the game, because it was a very beautiful gesture put up by Arsenal that if they would have gotten 3 points from the game of Brentford, they would have been 6 points clear. 6 points clear as they go into the City game. But the pressure right now on them is really out of this world. But I know huge moments define huge players. So this is the moment we're going to see whether Arsenal are really ready and their mentality has really changed from being a team that obviously was mediocre to a team that has really decided to go on and really become champions. So, after all what that really happened over the weekend, the Premier League doesn't want to see themselves really go through the same havocs that really happened over the weekend and confusions of VAR. Close to 3-4 goals were denied. All others were given because of poor decisions by the people in the VAR room. Now, someone has been suspended for some games because of what he did in the game of Crystal Palace. And video assistant referee known as John Brooks, who was supposed to be in the VAR room as Arsenal plays Man City on Wednesday, has been stood down from tonight's Merseyside derby and Wednesday's clash between Arsenal and Man City. Brooks will be replaced on VAR by David Coate for the match at the Emirates Stadium on Wednesday. So, it shows you how it really went from bad to worse over the weekend. That's why most people have been really pulled down. They've been pulled down because of the poor officiations that they made, and I think that's a very good move, because let them know that every time you really make a poor decision, you are really going to be suspended, or you're going to get a punishment or a penalty. But what has really brought this behavior to grow, or character to grow in these referees running the VAR is simple. Most of the times, they've been defended. You get? But this time around, it has gone to the worst that even Howard Webb has decided to do the following. And he has decided to do the following. Reported by Kieran Gill, football writer for the Mail, that referees chief Howard Webb has summoned all officials to Stockley Park for an emergency summit on Tuesday after 2 embarrassing and potentially crucial VAR blunders in one day. Attendance is thought to be compulsory. So, all the referees have been summoned by Howard Webb because they need to come out and really issue explanations why are such anomalies happening in the game of football. They are costing points, and one day, one time, if Arsenal find themselves not winning the trophy, they'll refer a lot to this game and the decisions that the VAR referee made, not to rule out that goal of Brentford, because Arsenal looked like, if at all they had not considered that goal, they would have gone ahead to get 3 points. Someone will say that it's a hypothetical because Arsenal would have considered before, but Brentford had only 2 shots on target. One was saved by Ramsdale, the other one crossed the line. So it shows you how worse it was, and where we are going. VAR is entering a very critical stage, because even yesterday in the game of Manchester United, Wout Volko's goal would have stood. The reason given by the VAR after drawing the lines is really childish. And yesterday, they are so much drawing the lines than they did in the previous games because they saw themselves naked. They saw themselves naked on Saturday. But why don't you draw lines? That was something simple, because you have to go all out drawing a line on every movement that the ball makes, especially after a goal goes in the back of the net and VAR is trying to see whether a player is offside or not. So that's it for now. First video of the day, Xhaka and Odegaard issue Man City warning. What are your reactions to what Xhaka said and Martin Odegaard? Then, what are your thoughts about VAR suspending the referee that was going to be part of the Manchester City and Arsenal game on weekend? And obviously, Howard Webb summoning the referees to see to it that they really try not to mess up with VAR and mess up with the wins or points of certain teams or their efforts they put out on the field of play. Rokani David is my name. I sign out for now. See you later. May the Almighty Lord bless you abundantly. I sign out for now. See you later, my mates. I'm out.